In the 1980s, New York City was loud, gritty, and alive. The subways were covered in graffiti, hip-hop was exploding, and downtown art was rewriting culture. And in the middle of it all was Keith Haring, a kid from Pennsylvania who turned chalk drawings into a universal language. He gave us radiant babies, barking dogs, dancing figures, and murals that still pulse with joy today. This is the story of Keith Haring, the rebel who made art for everyone. Keith Haring was born in 1958 in Reading, Pennsylvania, and raised in nearby Kutztown. From the start, he loved to draw. His father, an amateur cartoonist, introduced him to Disney and Dr. Seuss. Keith filled notebooks with cartoons and doodles, developing the bold, clean line that would define his style. But Haring wasn't content with small-town life. After briefly studying commercial art, he realized he wanted more. He dropped out and moved to New York City in 1978, the beating heart of art, music, and rebellion. Haring enrolled at the School of Visual Arts, but his real classroom was the New York subway. One day, he noticed unused advertising panels covered in black paper. He grabbed white chalk and started drawing. Within seconds, simple glowing figures came alive, radiant babies, barking dogs, dancing people. New Yorkers loved it. He became a subway celebrity. Some commuters would seek out his drawings on their daily rides, others tore them down and took them home. Cops arrested him multiple times for vandalism, but Keith kept going. For him, the subway was a public gallery. Art shouldn't be locked in museums, it should be part of everyday life. By the early 1980s, Haring's subway art exploded into the downtown scene. He connected with other rising stars, Jean-Michel Basquiat, Madonna, and Andy Warhol, who became his friend and mentor. Haring's paintings, murals, and sculptures popped with bright colors, bold lines, and childlike energy. They were playful, but also political. He painted against apartheid. He painted against nuclear weapons. And when the AIDS crisis hit, he used his art to fight fear and stigma. His imagery was so simple, so universal, that anyone could understand it, whether they were kids in a playground or activists at a protest. In 1986, Haring opened the Pop Shop in New York. It sold T-shirts, buttons, toys, and posters covered in his iconic imagery. Critics sneered. "How dare you cheapen your art," they said. But Keith's response was simple. "I want to make art accessible. I want it in kids' bedrooms, not just in rich people's collections." He believed art belonged to the public, not just the elite. And the Pop Shop proved him right. It became a global success, spreading his joyful imagery around the world. Haring didn't just sell art. He gave it away on walls, playgrounds, and hospitals. In 1982, he painted a giant mural on Houston Street, a public landmark. In 1986, he painted on the Berlin Wall, turning oppression into art. He created murals for schools and children's hospitals, believing kids deserved beauty and joy. One of his most famous works was the Crack is Whack mural in Harlem. Bright orange, bold black lines, shouting figures warning against crack cocaine. It became a community symbol, and even after city officials tried to paint over it, the public demanded it back. Haring was never afraid to speak out, through lines and color. In 1988, Keith Haring was diagnosed with AIDS. It was a death sentence in that era, and it devastated him. But instead of retreating, he doubled down. He used his art to raise awareness. He created posters, murals, and campaigns for safe sex and AIDS activism. He established the Keith Haring Foundation in 1989 to support children's programs and HIV/AIDS organizations. Even as his health declined, he kept painting, faster, more furiously, as if racing against time. His lines never wavered. They were still bold, still radiant, still full of life. On February 16, 1990, Keith Haring died at just 31 years old. The world mourned the loss of a bright, playful, fearless artist who had so much more to give. But his legacy? Immense. Today, his imagery is everywhere. On murals, clothing, skateboards, museum walls. His style is instantly recognizable, universal, joyful, and alive. And his foundation continues to fund HIV/AIDS programs, children's education, and art initiatives around the globe. Keith once said, "Art is for everybody." And in that, he succeeded. Keith Haring didn't just draw radiant babies. He drew a radiant vision of a world where art is for all of us. Joyful, political, messy, playful, human. Thank you so much for watching and sticking through this deep dive into Keith Haring's brilliant life. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a like. It really helps the channel grow. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd be honored if you joined us so I can keep bringing you more bold, surprising, and inspiring stories from art history and beyond. See you in the next one. Much love to all.